12-ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-ounce Sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120ZE and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sports book. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
What's going on today, everyone? Welcome to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner on 12-ounce Sports. I'm your host, Glenn Kaplan, live in Baltimore, Maryland, home of the Baltimore Orioles and the Baltimore Ravens. Welcome to my 208th show, everyone. I'm sorry about no background music today. I wasn't able to download it from my Gmail account because my Gmail, Google, there must have been a problem with it all day today. So sorry with no background music. But hope you all had a wonderful weekend, everyone. It was absolutely relatively fantastic. Why know it was absolutely relatively fantastic? How about I would like to give Ryan Leshko a big round of applause for filling in for Michael Crazy Carvallis on Friday on 12-ounce Sports War, baby. A big round of applause goes to Ryan Leshko. Yeah, I beat him 31-30. But I'm telling you this, that was a fun sports war. And before I could get to what I want to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen, a public service announcement for Michael Carvallis. It is hashtag Team Mike Takes L's Week because he thought that last week it was absolute collusion that I, quote-unquote, interrupted our guest host, who does a better job than Michael Carvallis ever does. Because let me tell you something, I'm coming for that crown on Friday. You and with your BS video that you sent, I was laughing because we all know that's not going to be true. I cannot wait for Friday. I cannot wait for it to be the most watched sports war on this network yet. You're going down. I got lots of things planned for me to take you down, but I am not going to say what I'm doing live in air. You just better be ready, because you ain't know what's coming from the blind side. Speaking of not being ready, how about the Los Angeles Chargers not being ready to play the Baltimore Ravens yesterday? Now, I know this is two premier teams, and the Chargers have to fly from the West Coast to the East Coast. It's a 10 a.m. Pacific time start. This is just a mirage for the Chargers. This is not, they stink all of a sudden. One game, all of a sudden, they're a bad football team. No, the Baltimore Ravens defense shut Justin Herbert down. He's the RB of the Chargers. But he is ready. He's going to have a bounce back. They're going to be on a bye week. Good bye week. Let them reset. Let them relax. And I think they're going to be just fine. They're a playoff contender. There are games during the year where there are outliers, and this is the outlier for the Chargers. It is going to be the outlier for the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, yeah, they contain Lamar Jackson, who the RP and soul of the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, he got picked off twice, but the Ravens defense did their job too. The Baltimore Ravens, the question I said last night, are the Baltimore Ravens the best team to potentially beat the Buffalo Bills right now? It's yes. I think it is. Number one, do we all forget that the Baltimore Ravens were driving last year in the AFC divisional round? They're only down 10-3 until Lamar Jackson throws that pick six. The Baltimore Ravens are the second best team today in the AFC right behind the Buffalo Bills. And I'm sure somewhere right now, Michael Corvallis is watching your show, and he's like, Glenn Kaplan, how could you possibly think that the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the AFC? Didn't I tell you that on Sports War 2 weeks ago? And I think they're going to beat the Tennessee Titans tonight. But, you on your AM drive with Aaron this morning, keep disrespecting the Buffalo Bills. My goodness. What is up with that? The Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills, in my opinion, would be the AFC Championship game right now. And I know there's all these critics about Lamar Jackson getting in the playoffs. But can we take the Kansas City Chiefs out of hindsight for a second over here? Lamar Jackson, people want to say, he's got all the supporting cast. Really? How many guys have been hurt on the offensive side of the ball this year, including the offensive line? And how many players have they lost on the defensive side of the ball? I want y'all to tell me that right now. Because it's been quite a bit. You know you're a franchise quarterback to compare when you're not. If you can survive in chaos, and how you do when the other players around you get injured. Lamar Jackson, even though he didn't look as sharp as yesterday, continues to find a way to get wins. Has lost very few games in the regular season. And the narrative surrounding Lamar Jackson will be, will they ever win the Super Bowl with him? And I'm going to tell you this. This year, this is their best shot. This is the window for the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. And I'm going to say that right now. If the Ravens do not win the Super Bowl this year, Lamar Jackson, they will never win the Super Bowl. Here's why the window is open compared from that whole thing 2 years ago. Number one, the Kansas City Chiefs defense is not as good. Remember, they beat them earlier in the year. Number two, there's a potential matchup. There could be some potential upsets in the AFC. Number three, the Ravens are just as well coached as the Buffalo Bills are. But some people would rather have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I understand that. When you win a game 34-6 against one of the better teams in the NFL, you should obviously be put on notice with the rest of the NFL. If you don't think the Baltimore Ravens are a top 5 team this year, go home. You're absolutely drunk. Okay? You've been probably drinking too many Trulies or beers or Coronas or Bud Lights or whatever else. But I'm saying this. The Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills, I would not be surprised if they're in the AFC Championship game this year. All right, moving on from this. Next topic I have. What do I have here at number 2? This was a very good game yesterday, and no one was really talking about it. Well, except maybe if your name's Colin Cowherd. How about that Dallas Cowboys New England Patriots game? It wasn't the first 3 quarters that caught my eye. It was that fourth quarter in overtime. This is where the fireworks started. New England with a 21-20 lead. And Greg Zuerlein misses a 51-yard field goal. You're like, ooh, the Dallas Cowboys. They are going to lose this football game. They're going to get upset on the road. And then the next play, Mac Jones throws a pick 6 to Trevon Diggs, who has now had 6 interceptions on the year, and he returned that one for a touchdown. They missed the 2-point conversions, now 26-21. Okay, how about the next play? So, they caught Trevon Diggs cheating on the inside. They call a double move. And then Mac Jones throws this 75-yard touchdown strike to Kendrick Bourne. I'm like, where was this? They kept throwing 3 to 4 yard dick and dunks to Mac Jones. And no, so now you're going to open up the playbook. And now then if they get the 2-point conversions, 29-26. And then Dallas Cowboys kick a field goal. They tie it at 29 from 49 yards out. They send it overtime. And then Dak Prescott becomes the hero and throws a 35-yard touchdown pass to CeeDee Lamb. The Dallas Cowboys are a Super Bowl contender. That is a fact. Here are my two caveats with the Dallas Cowboys. Mike McCarthy will cost them at some point. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. Number two, Mike McCarthy is not the brightest coach on his own football team. That happens to be offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. Dallas Cowboys fans know it. Kellen Moore is going to be probably a head coach sometime next year. And boy, would I love him as a head coach for the New York Giants, who need to start completely over. And I'm going to get to that in a couple of minutes. And I think Dan Quinn, he's done a nice job with that defense. But there are holes in that defense. It's not like it's perfect. Okay, you got blue chip players like Trevon Diggs and Micah Parsons. But, you played Jabril Cox. And you have Leighton Vander Esch. But where else on that defense is there really any bright spots? And here's what I don't understand with offensive coordinators. Why in the high seas do you keep throwing at Trevon Diggs? Why don't you keep throwing to the other side? I'll tell you two quarterbacks that wouldn't. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. I'm very curious if Kyler Murray would. Probably because DeAndre Hopkins versus Trevon Diggs in a playoff game as a quarterback wide receiver matchup would be one of the most interesting quarterback matchup receivers that I think I would see this year. I would be so fascinated to see it. It'd be like, hey, get your popcorn. Remember that old meme with Terrell Owens years ago against the New York Giants? Well, now I'm going to transition to the New York Giants. Yes, it's not very well what's going on at the Meadowlands over there. I had my rant about 2-3 weeks ago on this show. I will not rant. But I will do something very differently. Rather talk with emotion, I'll be talking with logic. Here's the problem with the Giants. It's Mr. John Mara, the owner of the New York Giants, who refuses to see what is wrong with this football team. He has tunnel vision. He's stuck in the 1970s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and early 2010s. What worked then doesn't work now. Mr. Dave Gettleman is a horrid general manager. Now, I've laid back off on him because I know he's going to be gone at the end of the year. And if he isn't gone at the end of the year, then John Mara, all he cares about is a paycheck, and New York Giants fans like myself need to send him letters to the Meadowlands saying, what do you want? Sell the stinking team. And I got a text from a Giants fan yesterday who never tells me once, sell the team. He's a big New York Giants fan. And it must have broke him, and it probably breaks other Giants fans, because basically, John Mara doesn't have a lick of a clue what he's doing. The Giants are better off without him running the day-to-day operations. And as I've said once before, the Eli Manning and Peyton Manning need to take ownership. Yes, completely strip it away from John Mara and Steve Tisch entirely. What to the completest Shonda, a complete sin, is that you honored the 2011 team Super Bowl team yesterday, and John Mara is a complete spineless coward who doesn't show up in front of the fans, who we got recently booed 3 weeks ago against the Atlanta Falcons when Eli Manning's number got retired. Now, right before I went on this show, there was a tweet from another New York Giants fan that said, New York Giants fans are calling the WFAN and basically ranted about how bad John Mara is. Well, they're correct. Can I tell you something else about this team? Joe Judge is a terrible head coach. He let Daniel Jones feed him basically into the wolves after getting concussed last week against the Dallas Cowboys. Joe Judge is basically a high school gym teacher, better off being suited in high school football, because this man wants to think that he's the man. Oh, look at me, I'm this, I'm that. When you're already losing the locker room and you got to blow out the last 2 weeks. But, the injuries. Andrew Thomas, Saquon Barkley. Oh, my. Do I have to sit here and tell you to give me this injury excuse? There are organizations that have injuries drop like a fly, but they still win. You know what they use injury excuses for? Chronic loser mentalities. That's what it's for. And speaking of chronic loser mentality, the Giants have initiated that culture and need to find a getaway out of it. You know what I said is the best culture? The best culture is a winning culture. And there are 2 articles that I wrote on 12 Ounce Sports this morning about the New York Giants. As number 1, the New York Giants need to get rid of all 53 players on their roster for next year, although that's not hypothetically possible. It would be nice, but that's not the case. I said on the website you got to trade Saquon Barkley and Evan Ingram and Jabril Peppers and Sterling Shepard and Logan Ryan. That's what I said. And there are a lot of other players that I say you can move off of. Article number 2 is that Daniel Jones is not the answer for the New York Giants at the starting quarterback position moving forward. Their 402-yard game against New Orleans Saints was obvious a fluke. But it needs the perfect help around him. That's the problem when you're a franchise quarterback. If you need the so-perfect environment around you, then are you really a franchise quarterback? The best quarterbacks in the NFL thrive in chaos. They carry their teams, they lift their teams to victories. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill. Who else? There's a lot of other names. Dak Prescott. Those are elite quarterbacks. Daniel Jones is just a stiff and a career backup at best. The New York Giants should seriously consider drafting a quarterback in the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft. Because you're going to get a new head coach. You're going to get a new general manager. And those guys are certainly not going to want Daniel Jones. And I said, you're going to get Malik Willis from Liberty. He's a Lamar Jackson-like type. That's perfect. That is a perfect can move the chains. How about Matt Corral, quarterback from Ole Miss? Remember last time the New York Giants drafted quarterback from Ole Miss, Eli Manning in the first round? Turned out well for them. And also Sam Howell from North Carolina. Now, notice how I didn't mention Spencer Rattler's name from Oklahoma, because number 1, he's dropped from the draft rankings. He's probably going to transfer, probably not going to the NFL draft this year. Caleb Jones has replaced Spencer Rattler at Oklahoma. So we'll see Caleb Jones move forward, then Spencer Rattler. And I said in the article that should be Malik Willis or Matt Corral, the New York Giants quarterback moving forward, instead of Sam Howell. That's what I said. Lastly, about the Giants, is that they honored their Super Bowl XLVI team yesterday. Tom Coughlin, Eli Manning, David Dillon, Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs, others were in attendance. And lastly, when will they get their next George Young? They need to hire an outside consultant. Peter King and Rashad Brooks were talking about it on Twitter today. Also, Matthew Stafford, the quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams, and Sean McVay, the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, holds their team to a higher standard. They had 0 points in the first quarter yesterday. McVay's like, we got off to a slow start. That's a real coach. Wano's a fake and a phony. Joe Judge says, let's take some buzz. Oh, my, I don't have to hear this whole same old shtick again, like the same old politician. My goodness, it was a 38-11 round for the Los Angeles Rams over New York Giants. I can't stand this anymore. I'm just numb at this point. I don't know what else I could do. So we are live on 12 Ounce Sports, Quencher Sports. There's Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. Follow my Twitter account, Glenn Kaplan13. Go to 12OunceSportsRadio.com/sportinggoods to support my articles or the show. Also, I'm live on Twitter, YouTube, only on 12 Ounce Sports TV, and Zingo TV channel 761. I am live on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, /noon Pacific, and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, /8 a.m. Pacific Time. If you would like to call live in the show, 347-831-1945. If you would like to call live in the show, 347-831-1945. All right. So, as I do at every show, thank you, Cody Jensen, Jamie Beck, Lou Gamlin, Philly Pete, Michael Crazy Carvallis, Mitch Bernstein with all his baseball takes as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm moving on from this 38-11 debacle from the Los Angeles Rams against the New York Giants. And I don't want to see another 38-11 loss for the New York Giants again this year. Telling you, the Los Angeles Rams are a really good football team. All right. I was seeing this yesterday. Miami Dolphins versus the Jacksonville Jaguars live in London. Tua Tagovailoa versus Trevor Lawrence. What did I see from that game yesterday? That Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa. Can we safely say, okay, both of these teams are 1-5, even though, Jacksonville beat them and this and that. Miami's got more talent than Jacksonville. But I'm going to say it. Miami Dolphins are a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. Not a defensive player away, not an offensive player away. A quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. They could have Justin Herbert. I'm just saying, they could have Justin Herbert with the 5th overall pick, and yet they want to go with, Tua Tagovailoa, who basically has gotten yanked a lot of games last year by Brian Flores for Ryan Fitzpatrick, and now this year he gets hurt. He takes and dunks. 329 yards, that's cute. But it take him 47 throws to get there, and he makes all these bad throws. They have wide receivers, they have running backs. I know people want to say, the offensive line. Have we seen any great quarterbacks have a perfect offensive line? And Michael Gravales, don't even give me Tom Brady for an answer. Just don't simply do it. Tua Tagovailoa is not the answer. I know people are critical of the whole Deshaun Watson thing. Do they want Deshaun Watson as the quarterback? Or Aaron Rodgers? Or maybe they even have, but I would say they would maybe draft one in the first round, but they don't even have their own first round pick because they traded it away to the Philadelphia Eagles. I understand why the Miami Dolphins, they can rebuild, we want to win games, and it's not working. The season's not on head coach Brian Flores. It's not his fault. He'd be picked up in 20 minutes. He'd be picked up in 20 minutes by another team, and that's my opinion. He would be picked up in 20 minutes. The fault for this year is General Manager Chris Grier. I will have more on this when I come back from commercial break.
12 Ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12 Ounce Sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120OZE and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sports book. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back from commercial break. So the thing about the Miami Dolphins is that I thought they were going to be a playoff team this year, and they weren't. And it's all because, as I've said, of Tua Tagovailoa and Jacoby Brissett. That's why they're not going to be a playoff team. Sorry. That's not what the quarterback position drastically failed this football team. That is not a fiction. That is a fact. That is a fact. There is no ands, ifs, or buts. Miami Dolphins, they would be 4-2 with Trevor Lawrence. They would be. They would be 4-2 with Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers or whoever else. I thought the Miami Dolphins should have maybe given the Jags a call about Trevor Lawrence. No, they wanted to stick with Tua. Should have drafted Justin Herbert. Why do you think ownership wanted to call about Deshaun Watson? Why do you think they wanted to? Because they're not sold on Tua. But they're like, oh, this is not fair. And the wins and losses in the NFL are on the quarterback position. It's on the quarterback position. Yes. So now I have, is this a guest caller onto the show? Hello, you're live on 12 Ounce Sports. Who do I have here?
How's it going, Glenn? This is Matt from Florida.
Yes, it is Matt from Florida. How's it going today? Is there anything you would like to discuss?
Yeah, Glenn, I saw some of your tweets over the weekend in regards to Tua versus Justin Herbert, and I just have a question. Where do you get off saying that stuff, Glenn? Where do you get off saying that? Because were there any NFL executives in the draft 2 years ago who would have took Herbert over Tua? I really don't think so. I think Miami trades out of that spot, and Tua is still available. The Chargers take him at 7. You want to be Captain Hindsight with your tweets, and you want to go on Twitter, and you and everyone else on Twitter want to say that, oh, how could the Dolphins ever do this? Watch the film. Look at it.
Watch the film. The dude was injured. Tua was injured in college, and Justin Herbert wasn't. Justin Herbert had more raw potential, and Tua Tagovailoa, you don't know with these Alabama quarterbacks. Oregon quarterbacks, at least. I have my question about Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert's more right to be a Super Bowl contender.
Glenn, did you tune into the Ravens game yesterday, Glenn?
Matt, they went to the West Coast at a 10 o'clock Pacific time game.
Justin Herbert is in a much more competent organization than Tua is right now, Glenn. The Dolphins ran the ball with their running back 17 times yesterday against a bottom 5 rush defense. That's inexcusable. And then 4th and 1 in a tie ball game on the 50, they were given to Malcolm Brown. You have Jalen Waddle running short routes all over the field yesterday. Mike Gesicki, huge target, and you decide to run the ball on a 4th and 1 after you ran it 7 times.
Matt, here's the thing. Short routes? Here's the thing. You want to know what happened before that play? Tua throwing short of the sticks. Do these coaches not trust them? And also, to not have the game in your quarterback's hands on a 4th and 1 tells me everything I need to know. Because there were reports out there that my dad sent me an article yesterday that Brian Flores wanted Justin Herbert, not Tua Tagovailoa. What do you say to that?
I say I think we made the right draft pick at the time, but right now someone's got to go in Miami. You cannot put this on Tua. You can't put it on Tua at all. If you watch his two starts this year that stand out of 3 in the Patriots game, first drive, right down the field touchdown. In the Jaguars game, these first drives are scripted so well, but then after that, the offensive coordinator.
Matt. Maybe it's just because Tua Tagovailoa doesn't do well off script. These quarterbacks, these top tier quarterbacks in the NFL, have to make plays off script if you want to be a franchise quarterback. And if you can't do that, then Tua's not a franchise quarterback. You have to know the playbook inside and out. It's great to have this offense coordinator, but you get what I'm saying. And you know who needs to be fired? It's not Brian Flores. It's general manager Chris Grier. What do you say?
Grier's got to go. Grier picked all these guys, and his picks just don't pan out, flat out. If you look at the offensive line that he created a lot through the draft, they don't plan out well. I don't know if it's the coaching system in Miami, but someone's got to be held responsible for what's happening here. We are currently the most likely the worst team in football. You could say 32.
Matt, no. Matt, please. I know you lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you are not the 32nd best team in football. Should be the Jags, but I don't know what happened there. I think it's because Trevor Lawrence is just a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa is, okay? That's just how I feel. You're better than the Detroit Lions, you're better than the New York Jets, and you're better than the New York Giants, and you're better than the Houston Texans. You are not a bottom 5 football team, even though you want to be. I think the Giants are. Now let me ask you this question. Should the Giants move off of Daniel Jones?
Yes. Yeah, I do not see Daniel Jones taking that football team any further than what it is right now. Either you get rid of him or you get rid of everybody else.
You have to.
Fire sale.
It is going to be a fire sale. They're going to have to rip the whole banner off, start this whole thing over again because it's absolutely ridiculous. So while I have you on the line here, what do you think of how about them Cowboys?
The Cowboys they lucked one out yesterday. Tough game in Foxborough. Trayvon Diggs, I like what he's doing on the field, but, we'll see. Micah Parsons, they got some great young guys on that defense. But, I always do question myself if Dak really has what it takes to take them to the next level.
Oh, my. You are going to question on the show if Dak Prescott has what it takes? Are you kidding me? Dak Prescott, as I just mentioned 10 minutes ago on this show, that Dak Prescott is a franchise quarterback and can make plays off the script.
Well, Glenn, all I'll say is they play in the weakest division in football.
Oh, no. You can't say that this year. That's the Tennessee Titans.
Glenn, one of the weakest divisions in football.
Thank you. Because you cannot say that.
They're going to be gifted a golden ticket to the playoffs. We'll see how they draw in the first round if they don't come out with a bye.
If they don't come out.
I don't see the Cowboys winning a playoff game.
You don't see the Cowboys winning a playoff game? My goodness. I think I'm just going to have to leave it at that. Thanks for coming on today, Matt.
Thanks for having me, Glenn.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. My goodness. What an absolute clown show over there with the callers. See what happens when I get callers on my show? This is the kind of clown stuff that I'm looking for. So if all you any other guys want to say anything else that's ridiculous on this show, want to say anything else ridiculous, like saying the Dallas Cowboys won't win a playoff game, or Tua's the answer in Miami, please, go ahead. Please give me a call on this show. 347-831-1945. Once again, 347-831-1945. My goodness. All right. Let's get into another game that happened yesterday. The Arizona Cardinals and the Cleveland Browns. So the Cardinals absolutely blew off the ropes, 37-14. Here's my questioning. Is Baker Mayfield the franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? Excuse me. Here's my thing with Cleveland. They did have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt got hurt, and now Kareem Hunt's landing on the IR. So run first football team. Baker Mayfield has to be the answer, whether you like it or not. I said this, who are you going to find better out there? You want to go back? So I said on Friday on 12 Out Sports with Ryan Leschko. Do you want to go back to what you were doing? I don't think you do. Now, I know he's got the shoulder injury. Baker wants to prove people wrong. But this is where the problem with the Browns offense is. There were 2 touchdowns scored by the Browns yesterday. Both by Donovan Peoples-Jones. And one was a Hail Mary. Want to know who wasn't on the field for the Cleveland Browns? Odell Beckham Jr. wasn't on the field. And I'll probably have that article where the Cleveland Browns should trade Odell Beckham Jr. to. Do you realize the Browns offense scored no points with OBJ on the field? I just want you to know that. Want to know Baker basically sucked last year with OBJ on the field? And how good he got without him? Odell Beckham Jr., Baker Mayfield are not meant to be together. They are not meant to be together on a football field. There's no chemistry. It doesn't work. It just simply doesn't. Whatever you try, it doesn't help them. A receiving core, Rashad Higgins, Donovan Peoples, Joe Jarvis Landry work. The Cleveland Browns should hold out OBJ until they find a trade partner. What is the front office and Kevin Stefanski thinking by continuing to let Baker try and do things with OBJ, and don't give me this BS by Stephen A. Smith that Baker's sabotaging OBJ's career. There are some players in this NFL that aren't just meant to be together. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins took them 20 minutes. It worked for them. And they're 6-0 the best team in football. They didn't have Cliff Kingsbury yesterday because he was dealing with COVID-19 protocols. But I'm going to tell you this. Arizona Cardinals are one of the 2 best teams in football. Cleveland Browns have fallen out the top 10. And what has happened in their defense? I would like to know, Beck, you know the answer, Jamie? Do you know the answer why the Cleveland Browns defense stinks from the SDK? I don't know. I thought they made these upgrades, and I saw the list of the injuries. Yeah, injuries is part of the game. I said, best culture is a winning culture. You find no excuses to win these games. Yeah, then this is going to be, and I'm going to tell you this. Baker Mayfield plays, and they lose on Thursday night Denver Broncos. There will be media speculation. I'm telling them to start Case Keenum the next week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right. After they should get rid of Odell Beckham Jr. ASAP, let's now go to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Washington football team. Kansas City Chiefs won 31-13. Patrick Mahomes has committed a ton of turnovers as of late. Kansas City's defense really finds itself once again against Washington. Not really. I'm going to say no. I wouldn't say Patrick Mahomes is really much better than Taylor Heinicke was, but it is what it is here as well. So that's what I'm going to say is that. So the Cincinnati Bengals and the Detroit Lions. I also wrote this yesterday. Joe Burrow has the Cincinnati Bengals taking playoffs. 134-11 against Detroit. They're 4-2. Big game next week against Baltimore Ravens. And as for the Detroit Lions, first time they started 0-6 since 2008 when they went 0-17. I do like Dan Campbell. Some people think he's over his head. I'm not sure what you think of him, Lou. I know he's trying. The thing about Dan Campbell is that he cares. Whether the Detroit Lions front office is going to get him the right quarterback and the right personnel 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now remains to be seen. But he called out the quarterback, Jared Goff, which you like to see. Jared Goff has not won a game in his NFL career without Sean McVay. Hasn't. He's now 0-14. And as for the Cincinnati Bengals, you got to give a little bit of credit to defense. They had a shot up to the fourth quarter. And that's also getting better. You have Joe Mixon on offense, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, TJ Azuma, and T. Higgins. And people want to criticize Zach Taylor, the head coach. You know what I tell people? I tell people this on the phone. If Cincinnati finishes I think they're going to finish better now than 7-10. They finish 8-9, 9-8, 10-7, make the playoffs. How could you possibly fire Zach Taylor for what? Making progress? You don't want to be dysfunctional and have Joe Burrow learn a new playbook. Joe Burrow's taking the leadership. There's a reason why he's a captain. Joe Burrow, yes, he's covering a lot of deficiencies on this team. The offensive line's playing better. That's all I got to say. And the Pittsburgh Steelers took down the Seattle Seahawks 23-20 in overtime. TJ Watt stripped sack Geno Smith in overtime to up the game-winning Chris Boswell 37-yard field goal, 2:51 left to play regulate and overtime. And Ben Roethlisberger has been having a so-so season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 3-3. And as for the Seattle Seahawks, they are 2-4 on the year. Russell Wilson trade rumors. He's hurt right now, but watch out for them. Lastly, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Philadelphia Eagles. Tampa Bay Buccaneers took down the Philadelphia Eagles. on Thursday Night Football, 28-22. Tampa Bay is far superior to Philadelphia is. Then Philadelphia is. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, I believe, will be preparing for another Super Bowl run. I don't think Jalen Hurts is long-term answer for the Eagles' quarterback position. In fact, the Philadelphia Inquirer is already calling for Jalen Hurts to be benched and to start either Joe Flacco or Gardner Minshew II. And also, Philadelphia Eagles have 3 draft picks in the first round 2022 NFL Draft. They're all the Miami Dolphins and the Indianapolis Colts pick. Remember the Packers, Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears game yesterday. Aaron Rodgers, like the Chicago fans, you're going to want to tune away to this, Cody. Now listen to this. I own you. That was awesome. And Rodgers and going to tunnel was like, these fans can't wait for me to go away. My dad's like, that is all funny and stuff. Yeah, those conversations I have with my dad about Aaron Rodgers is amazing because Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, quickly, NBA opening night preview. So here we go to the new season here as well. So tomorrow night, the Brooklyn Nets versus the Milwaukee Bucks on TNT. The Bucks will get the championship rings. I'll take the Milwaukee Bucks over the Brooklyn Nets, 101-98. And also the second game of the doubleheader, Golden State Warriors versus Los Angeles Lakers. I'll take the Los Angeles Lakers over the Golden State Warriors, 110-98. I have no NHL news for you today. MLB, so the Atlanta Braves lead the series over the Los Angeles Dodgers 2-0. Eddie Rosario came in the game in the bottom 9th inning with the game tied at 4. And he hit a base hit, but it should have been a Corey Seager error on the play. Now, the Dodgers are going to have to win their next 4 out of 5 to win. Maybe it's just the Braves year. And other guys like Freddie Freeman struggled at the plate so far in his NLCS. He's struck out his first 7 or 8 appearances. Isaiah Baez, Austin Riley have been clutch. Also, the Boston Red Sox versus the Houston Astros series tied at 1 with Game 3 tonight. In Game 1, Carlos Correa hit the game-winning homer. And in Game 2, Rafael Devers and JD Martinez hit grand slams, both in the second inning for the Boston Red Sox. So that game is at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight on FS1. Fox Sports 1, that should be fun. So I believe Joe Buck and John Smoltz are calling that game on Fox Sports 1. So that's all I have for you today. I am out of time here, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day and week as well. I will be live on the air on Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Have my Week 6 NFL Monday Night Football game recap between the Buffalo Bills and the Tennessee Titans. My NFL Week 7 preview. NBA Opening Night game recaps. My NHL regular season game recaps. Some MLB postseason updates. And maybe, and also a news segment I hope to start, maybe it's my main focus, or just adding a couple more things. Call Gambling with Glenn for Bet Us also, one of our sponsors here on the show, and maybe some merchandise in the future nonetheless. There will be much more going on in this one nonetheless. And nonetheless, it's all about sports, quench your sports thirst. We are live on Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. To support my show, go to 12ouncesportsradio.com/sportinggoods. Also, go to 12ouncesportsradio.com/sportinggoods. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to call Thursday, please do so at this number, 347-831-1945. Again, 347-831-1945. Have a wonderful day, everyone.